this is the sad, really sad part, is that I actually created my own magazines of my previous fictional company of wrestling, Samstar. Oh man, I know you can't see this, but like this is terrible quality. It looks kind of good on the camera, but it's terrible quality in person. I did a little interview here. So back in the day of Samstar, I created my own character of me running the company, and he had himself a girlfriend called Jamie. A little throwback to my first ever girlfriend here in Australia. Hi, by the way. You made it, Jamie. A little Q&A with them here. Remember, this is all fictional. This is all in my own head. There was a question to Samstar himself. What do you love most about Samstar? Oh man, I guess the best thing is that I see Jamie all the time. I was really trying to get heat, wasn't I? As a 13-year-old kid, 14-year-old kid, I thought this was gold. I spent so much time doing it. Like, I did career success. Out of these 6 Samstar stars, who has the best career to this day? WWE Magazine, I don't think it ever really did. Not to say it's a really cool idea, but I literally just like grabbed 6 people and compared their careers and came up with a winner. I had Justin, Titanic, which is corruption in the audiobooks, Dave Falcon, a guy called Lou Louie. I even put MVP on my show. I felt bad for MVP toward the end of his career. I felt like he could have done so much more, still do, and so I put him on my show and booked him terribly. And I also put Vipernip as well. So, and the winner ended up being Vipernip there. I think that's a cool idea. I did a Dave Falcon interview. Obviously just grabbed a screen cap of Dave Falcon on the WWE games, and he's just taking a fucking shit. Look, at the end of the day, this is just me trying to have fun with stuff like this. I did dream matches. I did Andy Orton versus Randy Orton. Although we have seen the Ortons in the ring as a tag team, I don't remember that at all. We've never seen the 2 world champions in a one-on-one contest. Statistically, Randy Orton would win with his experience. P.S. Randy Orton would beat Andy in a tattoo match any day. Next magazine. I'm not going to lie, I actually thought these would be far better than what I'm reading so far. But hey, you know, that's what 13-year-old brains do, man. They create gold in their own head. It would be very sad if I said to you, this is what I created last week. Vipernip answers some questions. This is a question that everyone deserves to know. What does Vipernip actually mean? It doesn't. This is breakthrough stuff because I even color code. Look how nice that looks. It looks terrible, but I thought it was amazing. In my head now, still I'm thinking it's amazing. It doesn't actually have a meaning. It has more of a history than anything. When I was 7 or 8 years old, this is true. This is true shit. When I was 7 or 8 years old, I had a friend called Alex. We both played wrestling on his trampoline. I called myself Phantom because I liked Star Wars, and Alex called himself Vipernip for no other reason except that he liked the name. When I got offered a place in a new brand called Samstar, I didn't know what to call myself. I thought about using my own name or thinking of a new one, but Vipernip just sort of stuck. It just has this cool feeling every time you say it. Now, really, this is a great question to ask you guys. I actually don't know if Vipernip is a cool sounding name or not, but I always thought it would. Now, this story isn't exactly true. I did have a friend called Alex who called his World of Warcraft character Vipernip, so shout out to you, my friend. But I have no idea why that was the case. I have no idea why he called it that. But somehow, some way, I implemented the idea of Vipernip into my wrestling stories since I was like 12 years old. I'm literally questioning myself and answering myself. So, what have you always wanted to do except being a wrestler? I never really thought about it. When I was younger, I remember telling myself that if I weren't a wrestler, I'd want to be an actor or author. Something to do with reading, writing, and acting. Go to the next one here. This isn't too bad. This isn't too bad of a photo. The other ones have been like kind of shitty so far, but this isn't too bad. Oh my god, look at this. Own of the month. No week has been more of an own, as in own of the month, I guess. Then the 9th of February, Justin referred to Jamie as more annoying than Rosa Mendez's hips. Look, I'm not saying it's amazing content. I'm just saying that it's cool that not really. It's very lame and sad that I spent so much time making my own magazines for my own company. Look at this. Oh, I am ahead of my time. Literally the ECW title. Did this for one of my wrestlers. His name was Daniel Safter. After having a conversation with a couple of friends, it has become my knowledge that I have really weird names. Presents the best of 2011, so this is definitely 10 years ago. A move of the year, the AKO. The AKO is essentially in the audiobooks of Greg Williams. It's the Gordo cutter. So it's a reverse suplex, but you twist it more into an RKO. You've got feud of the year, Viper Nip and Dave Falcon. You may hate it, you may think it's stupid, whatever. I don't blame you. But this is just to let you know that in my head, where this is all imagined from, imagine if you will, Viper Nip and Dave Falcon have had an extensive blood feud. They've had a big rivalry 10 years ago. So when I bring Viper Nip in to the story in the audiobooks that you listen to, he's been a wrestler for a really long time. Now, yeah, it may not be real and it may not be genuine and official, but I can create a wrestling show that has this backstory already in it. Just because I start a wrestling show from day one doesn't mean I have to make my own history there. You can pretend that there's already history. You know, does that make sense? I hope so. It's just what I'm talking about. Like, I was having fun, I was playing around, and this meant things to me. Like, I was making my own stories. Shit cover, but this stuff existed in my mind, and there's this is the proof sort of thing that, like, former rivals of Viper Nip and Dave Falcon did exist in my head at the time. I've got something here. WrestleMania. I remember Samster. I made Samster go on WWE television. It was sort of like the NXT before NXT. I literally had The Miz on it. I had The Miz come on my show. What was it like walking into Samster for the first time? I'm used to going to different places all the time and discovering new things about myself or other people. It was literally awesome walking into Samster and not doing anything different than Raw or SmackDown. That's obviously me stating how much I think my storylines are similar or can be perceived as a WWE format. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. Obviously, I mostly watched WWE in my life as a form of wrestling. So naturally, I'm just going to think of the format and the way in which a wrestling show is presented, going from in-ring to an interview backstage segment and stuff like that. And I know that's pretty common, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I can see if I were ever to run my own company, TV show, wrestling TV show, I'd run it in a similar way, but I'd probably give it a little bit more realism, less productive or production put into it, if that makes sense. We do have one more. If you're all really drained, that's fine, so am I. It isn't too bad of a front cover. I think it's my favourite one, even though there's nothing really happening and it just looks like a floating body. I don't know when they stopped doing WWE Magazine. It must have been 2014 or 15. And a couple of years before that, they were making the more like media versions, more like iPad versions of them. I remember it. The last magazine that I got, I was so heartbroken. I was like, oh my God, why? Like, it's so good. It's interesting. And it's something that's missed out now. You know, with the takeover of social media, magazines aren't what they used to be in WWE especially. This is what I did, man. I just wrote interviews and just like did questions trying to establish more for a character with these magazines, and that's what they were really used for back in the day with WWE. Like, don't get me wrong, they promoted the hell out of themselves and did loads of crappy advertisements and stuff. Look at this. I was wondering when this was going to come up. From above, Angel. Angel and these characters have been a part of my life for over 10 years, and I wrapped them in the world of Impetus and Imagine, if you will. So, what's the greatest moment you have had on Samster? Just to in Samster is amazing. True blonde. Tomboy or girly girl? I like to look at myself for hours to see if I look good. When I'm out partying, I'm normally hanging out with the guys. Promiscuous girl. Who's your favorite WWE diva, past or present? When I was like 5, I literally put like 5. See, but this is the thing, right? I'm establishing the character here. You now know, just by looking at her, and just by her talking, by her saying when I was like 5, even at 13, I realized, okay, what's her language? How does she speak? How does she look? What's the emotions that she gives off while she speaks? Obviously, it's Trish, She proved that pretty faces can kick butt. Angel never kicked butt. She was always a dumb blonde bimbo, and I can say this because she's not real. She was always a dumb blonde bimbo, always hiding behind men sort of thing, and using her sexual prowess to her advantage. The difference of characters, and that's what the magazine was there to help me do. So I really enjoyed that part. Looking back, very reminiscent. Very shit. Of course it was shit, but I put effort into that stuff and being creative and creating my own characters. So, of course, eventually down the line, I'd have to bring them back and make them as real as possible. And that's what I did with the audiobook. So, listen, with the match cards and the magazines, guys, I'm telling you straight up, like, you got to go check out this audiobook, because if you don't, I don't know why you're here listening to me ramble about my magazines, but you got to check out the audiobook that I did, because I made these more realistic. I put them into efficient and sense-making storylines, and I really enjoyed that process of making these characters. A lot of them come back as legends and get vanquished and defeated by Impetus. It's just been really fun. It's a really fun process to literally have everything in here. There's always been, for the last decade, there's always been somewhere in my mind all that.